And the agricultural industry wanted, right, to stabilize their workforce. And so it was a very simple thing. People simply had to demonstrate that they had worked for 90 days in agriculture 3 times in a row, 3 years in a row. And they had to make very little demonstration of it because their employers are so exploitive that there were no payroll records, and of course there were no rent records, there were none of the ordinary kind of things that you would go to. So it was pretty easy. And 100,000 people in Florida qualified for that legalization. And that included most of the Guatemalan political asylees who couldn't get political asylum. The Immigration Department, in order to process these claims, set up on the north end of Lake Okeechobee. There's a road running up through the state, 27, which runs right up and down the middle of the state. So they chose that as their central point toward which all the farm worker applications would go. And they put a team together there to process the applications. The team, unfortunately, was made up mostly of people who were retired from the Border Patrol. So their whole life's training had been to exclude people. And now they were asked suddenly to totally reverse the meaning and the purposes of their lives, right? And they weren't up to the challenge. So I discovered that everybody was coming away from Okeechobee with a slip that said that they had a temporary work permit, but their case had not yet been adjudicated. I had 25 churches where people could go to get their papers prepared for them. And so I was really interested in what these outcomes were. And I had enough dealing with these guys in Okeechobee to really suspect what they were up to. But I couldn't get any of the other lawyers I was contacting these priceless lawyers who had put the bill together and had worked on this in Washington back over the years. I'm contacting these people and they're all telling me, oh, relax, Frank, this is what we get for now. There's so much more to be gotten and we'll go back for it other years, but this is what we have for now. Relax and go with it. Right. And then I had a great stroke of luck. I was on the podium at the Shoreham Hotel in Washington, and the fellow on my left was the chief counsel of the Immigration Service. And he laid his material out for his talk, and I laid mine out for the talk, and as we went on with our presentation, there were several other speakers, and as we were making the speeches, I saw that he had a printout of yesterday's adjudications at all of the centers around the nation. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't read it either at that distance. I'm trying. So what I did was I picked up my notes, and as I picked up my notes, I picked that up with him, and knee-knockingly exited the building. As soon as I got out in the lobby, I read the thing, and sure enough, there it was. All of the people, all of our farm workers who were going to the center in Okeechobee were being denied. But they were being sent home with work authorizations so that they would encourage everybody else to come in. But in Miami, we had Ira Kurzman. And so got together with Ira, and he started putting the case together against the Immigration Department for the way in which they had interviewed the people and adjudicated the cases. Right? For an interview, one of the things that's necessary for an interview, you speak the language of the person you're interviewing. Farm workers spoke Spanish. The guys who were supposedly interviewing them didn't speak any Spanish. Right? Then the interviewer had to make notes. Right? on the reasons why he adjudicated in the way he did, and so on. Well, of course, there weren't any notes because they hadn't had any conversation, right? So if there weren't any notes, then there wasn't any basis there for the appeal to be conducted. I went to the Bishop of Palm Beach, who was my boss, and said, I need to sue, bring a lawsuit against the United States Justice Department, right? And he was a big fella. Like, the howl must have bounced me off the wall. He just roared, laughing at the preposterous idea that we were going to sue the Labor Department or the Justice Department. And but he was a really humane man. Going to federal court in Miami, and I'm looking out, and all the front rows are these retired border patrolmen. Miami has had fabulous federal judges, like Atkins, King, so marvelous people. And he gave us, we sued on 12 points, he gave us all 12 points. The government appealed 5 points, we went to Atlanta, right? We won all 5 points. And they took it to the United States Supreme Court. And so we got to have that. Can you imagine more memorable event in your life than going into the United States Supreme Court? And we won again. What we won was just a whole reordering of this business of interviewing people for, of how immigrants were processed.